Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women. Keeping with our mandate to provide meaningful information to help you manage your life, the Women of Courage show is announcing two workshops that will be held in September and October of 2019. Please put these dates on your calendar. The dates are September 14th and October the 5th. The Women of Courage show will be conducting two workshops. The workshops are entitled What You Must Do to Win and Life Saving Advice. The workshops will be held at the Southfield Pavilion in Southfield, Michigan, in the multi-purpose room. The workshops will be held from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Regular tickets are $20. Renee from the WHPR station is the contact person for tickets and vendor information. Her phone number is 707 881 7363. If you are sick and tired of your life, join us and become a woman of courage. Wishing and hoping is not going to cut it. If you want to live a fulfilling and fruitful life, you must dare. Do not miss these workshops. You need this information to manage your life. Information that will help you do more than just survive. You can earn more money. You can live in a larger home. And you can drive a better car. Stop trying to bed your girlfriend's husband. Build a life of your own. During the workshop, you will become a stronger thinker. You will be better at seeing and facing the truth. You will learn how to be quiet when necessary. And you will leave behind your fantasy world. A lot of work has gone into developing these workshops. You have never attended a workshop such as this gathering. These workshops were designed to provide you with information that will not only help you, but you will not forget. This information will change the course of your life and the lives of your children. You will receive the benefit of 20 years of research. We look forward to seeing you there. For the next 4 or 5 weeks, we're going to discuss the books Women of Courage, You Are the Prophet of Your Life, and What You Must Do to Win. The reasons why we are going to give so much attention to these books is because the books were written to raise your self-esteem and to give you confidence that you can do whatever it is that you want to do in your life. Actually, life is straightforward. Every day, a person must put his best foot forward to live and improve his life. That means leaving behind friends that take from your life. You do not need to sit around every day talking about the last football game that you played, wasting your day away. You need to be planning and instituting things that will improve your life. People who sit around talking all the time are afraid to live their lives. So that means saving money each month to ensure your children have a future. That means not bringing unrelated males into your home who can harm your children. At any given moment, if you ask me, I can give you the names of children who were raped and murdered by their mothers' live-in boyfriends. Men are not babysitters, so do not leave your children with any men. I know there's men out there listening to me, and you're mad. Well, you just have to take it because there are too many men killing these children for any sane woman to leave her children with any man, and I mean including his father. We just had two black males indicted for beating their children to death because it was difficult for them to learn to read. Men are not babysitters. They were built to work, and that's what they need to do. You may want to argue this point. Go right ahead, because I can drown you out with the names of children murdered by men when these children were left in their custody. What these men did to these children is an abomination. Oh, yes. And most of the mothers were charged. If you have to have sex, do it outdoors in the alley and leave that man in the alley and go home and take care of your children. A child does not need their mother making a decision that will imperil their life. It is an accepted fact that women with low self-esteem are flattered by any man's attention, and these women will pull up their skirt at any moment. They'll screw anything with a name. Also an accepted fact that women with lower self-esteem will put up with the most atrocious behavior from these men. Like I said earlier, if you're sexually attracted to these men, screw them in the alley and leave those men in the alley. If a man does not have a clear goal and is working toward that goal, leave him in the alley. If a man's mother will not have anything to do with him, leave him in the alley. If a man has 4 or 5 babies by 4 or 5 women who call him my baby's daddy, leave him in the alley. These men do not have any self-control, and they do not know how to manage their lives. They are confused and lost. You're going to meet a lot of men in your life that will say, I'm gonna start a business. I'm gonna go back to school. I'm gonna get me a better job. The phrase I'm a gonna is the first sign that his life will not amount to anything. People who say I'm a gonna forever use this phrase. There is no I'm a gonna. Either you are in the process of doing it or you're not in the process of doing it. It's that simple. You are either in the process of going back to school or you're either in the process of getting the job. It means that you have walked the streets and put in application after application after application after application. That phrase I'm a gonna is for fools. Take the phrase I'm a gonna go back to school. Well, what has he done toward meeting this objective? Has he registered for school? Did he pay his tuition? Has he gotten a tutor for his math class? Has he found out his schedule and arranged for part-time work? Does he know where he's going to live during this time he's going back to school? Does he know how long it's going to take him to get back and forth to school on the bus? Does he have a bus schedule? All these are activities associated with the phrase I'm a gunner. I knew a woman once who told me to my face that it was too hot outside to go and vote. Then in the wintertime, she told me it was too cold to go outside and vote. What she was saying was voting was not important to her. In the case of the man telling you, I'm a gunner, he is saying he does not know how to put his plan of going back to school into action. And he is also telling you he does not know how to find someone to tell him how to do it. He's telling you he does not believe in going to a librarian and asking her to tell him where to find information to do what it is that he wants to do. You are talking to a man that is a fool who tells you to help him start his business. In fact, he thinks you are just as stupid as he is. What insurance do you have after he starts his business that he will not dump you? Your name is not on the business, nor do you have a life insurance on his life. He hasn't married you, so you're not entitled to Social Security. Now, to the man who tells you he is going into business, you want to leave him behind. Listen to me. You want to leave him behind because that man is deadly. What he is actually saying to you is, I want to put you to work to help me raise the money I need to go into business. He will want you to pose nude on Facebook to advertise your wares. He wants to sell sex while he sells himself. After you show your wares on Facebook, then he will want to arrange for you to start selling sex to men so he can take the money to start his business. Of course, he's going to tell you that if you love him, you should be willing to help him get up the money for his business. He's an absolute fool. In your mind, you tell him to go to hell. And as soon as he turns his back, you move out that house and don't let nobody know where you've gone. Now, I want you to get this through your head that male predators are looking for women just like you so they can exploit you and your children. They will want your children, to go and buy them dope from the dope house. They'll want to eat all the chicken and leave your children with the chicken backs. They'll want to use your food stamps so you can sell, no, so they can sell the food stamps and go get some beer and marijuana. Your children to eat peanut butter for the rest of the month. When you listen and do what these ignorant men tell you, you are teaching your children to be stupid just like you. And finally, your son is going to end up in prison because you were stupid, and your daughter will be a prostitute because you were stupid. It is time for you to change. This is why you need to read these books. And if you cannot read, then you need to learn how to read so you can read some books that will help you change your life. Do not believe and stop being stupid, making yourself feel important because you're trying to help your boyfriend start his business. If he's a man, he will not need your help. You hear what I said? I said if he's a man, damn it, he will not need your help to start his business. He'll do it on his own. I have known enough men in my life to prove this statement, starting with my father and my oldest brother. My father worked at an ice house for 14 hours a day and walked home from the Eastern Market to Grand River and 15th Street to save car fare just so we could eat. My father had a garden in the summertime to grow vegetables so my mother could can them so we could eat in the wintertime. My oldest brother did several tours of duty in Vietnam just to earn combat pay to keep his family. So do not tell me what a black man won't do uh, to take care of his family. One thing a black man will not do is tell his woman to sell her body. So do not tell me that a black man will ask his woman to sell her body so he can start his business, because that's a bunch of crap. I know what a black man will do for his family, and what he will not do is tell his woman to sell her body for him. My father would wash our socks in cold water, then sit up at night sitting by the oven waiting for our socks to dry. Please do not tell me what a man will do for his family or to make money. But one thing a man will not do is eat before his children eat and take the best pieces of chicken and buy himself shoes when his child does not have shoes. Men do not do this. Ever that piece of human waste that you have, you need to get rid of it. And never bring anything like that into your house again. If the man is living in your house, he does not need to babysit. He needs to go get him a job and pay a babysitter. He does not need to sit at home with the child playing video games. I know a man who washed dishes for 16 hours a day, 6 days a week to take care of his family. He couldn't read. He knew that he had to work to take care of his family, and that's what he did. He couldn't get a driver's license because he could not read. And his girlfriend would bring him to work and pick him up in the evening, and he was paying for the car. I knew another man who could not read. He too could not get a driver's license. But you know what he did? He walked the streets, memorizing street signs, until finally he started borrowing his friend's cab and started picking up fares all over the city. He did this for years. He also hustled money down the Eastern Market, bringing people back and forth in their groceries. He also hustled money at the supermarkets. The reason why I know these men couldn't read is because I taught them to read. I made myself a promise years ago to eliminate black illiteracy. And if you care about people, then you should try to help somebody learn to read. Please do not tell me what a man will not do when he loves his wife and children. My father walked home from work just so he could give us money for lunch. We were never embarrassed in the lunchroom. If you meet a trifling man, leave him where he stands. You have no right to comfort this man with sex after all the suffering that black men have endured in this country to protect their families. This man is not willing to put forth an effort and take a job, any job, to take care of his family. You leave that piece of trash alone. Remember I said that anytime a man's mother will not help him, you're to leave that man alone. Why? Because black women will go through hell for their children. I know a ton of black women who have worked 2 jobs for years to take care of their children. So anytime you see a man and his mother has turned her back on him, that man bears watching. And I mean watching. If you sleep next to this man, you better sleep with one eye open, or he'll be down the hallway visiting your daughter in her bed.
Today, I choose love. From my past, my future, to my family and friends, I choose love. With everything we've got going on in the world today, all the hate and negativity, love is all we have, and it's all we need. If you can start each day with love, you will watch your world change. But the time is now to forgive, to forget, to move on. Do this and your perspective will change. If I know one thing, I would rather live in a world with love and openness than a world full of pain. And it's our choice to believe in something bigger than us. One world, one people, one love.
Every day we wake and drive to work, and we see people walking around, smiling, giving the appearance of happiness, and we envy them. We wish that our lives were like theirs. We drive home and turn on the television, and we see people walking around smiling at their friends and spouses, and we envy them, and we wish we could live a life just like theirs. These thoughts bring misery into our lives because we believe what our eyes see. We accept what is in front of us as being true. We do not see the makeup artist in the background making the final touch-ups to the actor's face. We do not see the diet pills the actors shovel down their throats at night so they can avoid eating. We believe what we see, and what we see makes us miserable. We want to trade places. We begin to think, why could it not have been me? Why could I not have a car like that? Why could I not have a wife like that? Why could I not have a husband like that? Why could I not have a house like that? On and on the questioning continues until finally we are dissatisfied with the world around us. Why could I have not been born to parents like that? All these questions force us to turn inward, and we attack ourselves. We begin to say, I thought Mary would make a wonderful wife when I married her. Now she has grown fat. She complains every day. She never stops. I wake in the morning and she complains. I drive to work and she calls complaining. I come home at night and she complains. Will nothing change? Or you think, I thought Tom would make a great husband. Now I know all he thinks about is the next woman he's going to take to bed. I'm tired of watching him. I just don't care anymore. If he wants to take the entire neighborhood to bed, I don't care. How did I get here? Am I destined to live a life I do not want? A life I hate? Is there nothing going to change? Every day we make changes, we negotiate with ourselves. We make comparisons and we come up short, and we become more and more unhappy. This is why you must take action. Otherwise, your unhappiness will lead you to alcohol, drugs, petty feuds at work, extramarital affairs, obesity, then death. Yes, unhappiness can lead to death. This is why you must take control over your life. No matter where you find yourself, you must take control of your life. Taking control will not be immediate, but the more you work at reclaiming your life and restoring yourself, control will come. You must be careful when you start your reclamation process because others around you will not want you to change. They will want you to remain the unhappy person you have always been. If you decide to return to school, keep it to yourself. If you decide to buy a new house, keep it to yourself. If you decide to move out of state, keep it to yourself. People have gotten used to the old you, and the new you may have problems exerting authority over your life with others and putting a down payment on the future. You simply may want to learn to play the piano. Do not listen when someone tells you you're too old to learn to play. If you want to learn to play the piano, do just that. Read the ads in the paper and find a teacher or contact a local school for an instructor and begin learning to play the piano. This is your life, not anyone else's. Have you noticed how mean some older people are? The meanest comes from dissatisfaction. They spent their entire life doing what was expected of them, doing what someone else told them to do, and now they are 65, 70, or 80 years of age. They realize they never did what they wanted to do. Is that not enough to make one angry? Communication is the key. We spend a great deal of time learning to communicate with others. We should spend an equal amount of time learning to communicate with ourselves. We need to stay in touch with ourselves over the years. We need to ask ourselves, what is next? Am I following someone else's playbook? Are there any changes I can make to my life that will make me happy? After you determine what these changes are, you need to sit down and assess how easy or difficult these changes will be to achieve. The books You Are the Prophet of Your Life and The Devil's Cauldron give a different perspective on self-assessment. Knowing how to relate to others is just as important as knowing how we relate to ourselves. You'll be surprised at the reading. The books are not any other. The books are a good exercise for a reality check. The full complement of books on this website was written at great cost to the writer. Jealous, envy, and even hatred was explored. You will find Be Not Defeated in Hard Times, an acclamation to the human spirit. If you do not entertain defeat, you will keep on walking, talking, and working until you win. It is all a matter of goals and asking yourself, what do I want? You may say you want an F-150, but are you willing to work a second job to buy one? Or will you tell your wife why this truck is so important to you that you have to have one? It is all a matter of goals and self-examination. Why do you have to buy a dress every week? Why are you always trying to get the attention of Betty's husband? Out of all the men in the state, you have to try and attract someone else's husband? What does Betty have other than her husband that you envy, so that you have to take her husband to bed? Why was it necessary for you to sneak a peek in her dresser drawers and see how many panties she's had? Why does it make you feel better to humiliate others? Think about it. Why? Read and find your way out of the mess you're in. Reading and considering another point of view can incite you to a new idea or spark your imagination that will lead you to change.
I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to
Life is too short for you to be unhappy. Life is too short for you to surround yourself with anything but positivity. And that's what we need to talk about now, dealing with toxic people. Now, we can't change all of our relationships, but we can change some. Some of us might come from families that are not supportive, and some of us come from families and have friends that are very supportive. And that's what we need to figure out now. Who is helping you? Who truly supports you as a person? Who wishes you all the success in the world? Those are the people you need to be around. Those are the people you need to stay connected with. I want you to think about 5 people that you talk to or hang out with the most. Of those 5 people, how many of them are positive influences on your life? How many of those people are helping you build the foundation to your success? And for the people who are not, are you willing to cut them out of your life? Is it worth having people around you that don't believe in you? Positive thoughts attract positive outcomes. And until you can change who you let around you and how much they influence you, you will continue down the same path. But the time is now. You can no longer let negative influences impact your goals. Your new chapter starts right now. Think about the positive people. Think about building with them, connecting with them, because they will be the positive influence that you need to help succeed in your life. They will be the driving force for you to live your best life. It's just as important to how you end the day as it is to how you start the day. And that's with positivity. Now, we can't change what has happened today, but we can change our thoughts into tomorrow. Now, before you sleep, you need to make sure you're in a calm state of mind. No phones, no tablets, no distractions. I want you to start thinking about all of your dreams and goals coming true. I want you to really picture how life would be once you meet those goals. How happy would you be? How would your life change for the better if you met these goals? Now you can start to feel the anxiety of the day slowly fade. You can start to feel the heaviness turn to light. And every moment you stay in this calm state, you start to feel better, feel more confident. You start to feel more assured. And this is how you end every day, thinking about your goals, thinking about your accomplishments, thinking about the positive people in your life, all the support you have, all the people wishing you success. This is how you end your day. A calm state with positive thoughts. Your future is now. Visualize it into tomorrow. Oftentimes, we talk so much about the success of something that we don't highlight how important failure can be. Failure is what gives us those real life lessons. And until you've experienced that, you can't truly understand what success means. Because through failure, we begin to understand who we are, what we're made of, what we're willing to do to become successful. Failure is only an event. It does not define you. All it does is create new opportunities for you to succeed. Once one door closes, more will open. But you need to believe that. You need to live life now. Risk everything for your dreams. No matter what the results are, trust in yourself that you will find a way to become successful. In this life, we do not fear failure. We embrace the opportunities that come from it. Think about everything that has been created in this world. If people would have given up after one failure, what would we have? We would literally have nothing. We do not fear failure. We grow from it, we learn from it, and we move on.
Remember a few shows back, I spoke to you about the results of unchecked envy, jealousy, and hatred? Remember, I said that one must reorganize their thinking, that these emotions can lead you to evil consequences such as murder, adultery, and fornication. I was not speaking abstractly. These emotions explode into the newspapers all across the country. Listen to excerpts from 13 cases. And please do not make the assumption that these are the only cases involving people who have committed evil acts. June 2007, 36-year-old Rosario I cannot pronounce her name, of New York, struck his mistress, 27-year-old Amy Giordano, in the head with a hammer after she demanded that he leave his wife. She was the mother of his child. Mr. Rosario was convicted of murder and was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Imagine, he had a friend help him get rid of the body. He had been committing adultery. He wanted to keep a mistress on the side and live with his wife. September 8th, 2008, Cheney Jones was a married ex-police officer living in Memphis, Tennessee. He shot Phyllis Malone 3 times after she told him she was pregnant and she was not getting a divorce. She said she didn't want an abortion. In June 2010, he was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 24 years in prison. Phyllis Malone lied about her pregnancy. She was trying to use the pregnancy to force him to leave his wife. When the coroner conducted an autopsy, he found out she was not pregnant. She just wanted Mr. Jones to leave his wife. She lost her life because of a lie. February 2010, it was reported that Bruno Fernandez de Sola, who was married, killed his ex-mistress, Eliza, because she gave birth to a child and then asked him to give her child support. He abducted her with the help of his wife and his current mistress and his cousin. He tortured Eliza for 6 days. Then he strangled her and fed her body to his dogs. He served 7 years in prison. March 2011, Gregory Nelson Jr. lived in Virginia. His wife found out about his mistress, and she found out that the mistress, Susanna, was pregnant with his child. Gregory Nelson stabbed his mistress to death, also killing the unborn child. His mistress, Susanna, was 2 weeks from giving birth to their child. Mr. Nelson was convicted of first-degree murder, and in 2013, he was sentenced to life in prison. Now his wife has to get a divorce, unless he expects her to wait for him. June 2011, Richmond Phillips, a married police officer for the Washington, D.C. Police Department, killed his former mistress, 20-year-old Wynetta Wright, and he killed the 11-month-old daughter, which was his. He did not want to pay child support. Officer Phillips was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder. March 2013. He was sentenced to 2 life terms plus 20 years in prison without parole. I wonder if his wife will be waiting for him when he gets out of prison. Okay, March 2011. 30-year-old David Adam Report. He was a married veterinarian living in Pennsylvania, shot his mistress, who was 27-year-old Jennifer Snyder. He shot her 3 times. She was pregnant with his child. Like most adulterous husbands, he did not want his wife to find out about his affair. Mr. Rappaport pleaded guilty December 2011 in exchange for the prosecutor withdrawing the death penalty for him killing Miss Snyder and her child. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. He dumped her body in a rural area of the county. So much for I Love You. May 2011. David Bickham Sr., a married former Chicago police officer, convinced his son, Devin Bickham Jr., to kill his mistress, 29-year-old Chevron Alexander. He changed his mind. He did not want to marry his mistress. He wanted to stay with his wife. Remember, if he leaves his wife, he has to share his pension. In 2014, David Bickham Sr. and his son were both convicted of first-degree murder. The older man received 95 years in prison for killing his mistress, while his son was sentenced to 50 years in prison for his role in killing Miss Alexander. June 2014. Marine Christopher Lee, age 27, killed Erin Corwin, age 19. She was his neighbor and the wife of another Marine. He killed her and threw her body down a mine shaft because she was pregnant with his child. Mr. Lee was married and had a 6-year-old daughter. In November 2016, Mr. Lee was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. All of this just to have an affair. July 17th, 2015. The headlines read, ex-MFL player, alleged mistress kills wife, self after kidnapping. Miss Sandra Barnett, age 49, of Ellenwood, Georgia, was shot to death on the Alabama highway after a woman abducted her from her home. Miss Barnett was on the phone with a coworker when she was abducted. She was a middle school special needs teacher. While her abduction was being reported to the police, she was being driven across the state line. The police spotted the vehicle that she was being driven in. When they attempted to arrest the driver refused to stop. Then there was a car chase. Finally, the vehicle stopped. 2 shots were fired. Miss Sandra Bennett was shot and killed, and then her abductor, Lisa Brown, age 46, committed suicide. She was the grieved mistress. Apparently, she learned that Sandra's husband was going to take her on a vacation, and I guess that upset the mistress. She knew this man was married. June 2016, 40-year-old instructional specialist Lintel Washington of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, was shot to death near her car. She was murdered because she told her married boyfriend that she was pregnant and was going to tell his wife about their affair. Stupid. Her boyfriend was none other than a colleague of hers. He was a 39-year-old assistant principal. His name was Robert Marks. Mr. Marks has been charged with second-degree murder and first-degree homicide. He entered a plea of not guilty October 2016. The police believe that Miss Washington's 3-year-old daughter witnessed the murder. She was found standing alongside her mother's car. In October 2016, 27-year-old Denisa Smith was tortured and strangled to death at work. Her murder was captured on the store camera. She had taken out a restraining order against her fiancé after she learned he was married with 4 children. Her fiancé, Rolanzo Lexun, wanted to continue the affair. He was angry that she quit him. He was finally convicted in Brooklyn, New York. He was sentenced to life in prison. That was the maximum sentence that the judge said he could give him. April 26, 2018. The headlines read, Wife fatally shoots husband's mistress, kills self. Jenner, her last name spelled Gardot, age 47, of Delaware, ended her life because of her husband's infidelity. Before killing herself, she shot his mistress. Her husband took on a mistress. He did not feel like telling his wife that he no longer wanted her. He left for her to discover the affair. We imagine after the murder suicide, all the blame was placed on the wife. She was unforgiving. She should have understood. He didn't mean for the affair to happen. He just fell in love. He was unable to tell his wife. He couldn't help himself. On and on for the excuse. He destroyed this woman's life. Why did he not divorce her before he started an affair? Why? Because he was selfish. Simple as that. He left his wife abandoned. She was left on an island high and dry. Her life and security had been taken from her. But her feelings were not important. She became the other woman. She had been supplanted by the mistress. Now she was in the way of the mistress's happiness. Just move out the way graciously. He did not give his wife the opportunity of finding someone for herself. Women are just supposed to understand women are made to be self-sacrificing. Falling in love while still married should be understood by the spouse. April 12, 2019. The headlines read, Alleged mistress kills pastor in fatal shooting, leaves his wife wounded. That is correct. I used the word pastor. The article went on to say that 39-year-old Latasha Daniels drove from Little Rock, Arkansas to Memphis, Tennessee to kill her married boyfriend, Brodus Perry, the executive pastor of the Memphis Boulevard Christian Church in Tennessee. Pastor Brodus Perry was shot to death April 4, 2019 in his home around 10 p.m. His mistress arrived at his home. He was not there, but his wife was. So his mistress sat there and talked to the wife until he arrived. As the mistress got ready to leave, she turned around and shot the pastor 3 times, then shot the wife in the shoulder when the wife tried to help her husband. Sometimes during that week, Pastor Brody had told his mistress he refused to divorce his wife so that he and his mistress could be together. Miss Daniels has been charged with resisting arrest, assault on a police officer, firearm possession, attempted first-degree murder, and first-degree murder. In an ironic twist, Miss Daniels works as a licensed social worker. She is a certified anger management specialist. She is the owner of the Root Behavior Health Clinic. She specializes in domestic violence and anger management. When she appeared in court, she looked quite satisfied. If we are to learn from the lives of other people, especially these 13 cases, we know that there are some hard realities that women need to face. Why should a man be interested in marrying with you when he's already married, either with or without children? How is his paycheck going to stretch to accommodate taking care of you and your child after you become pregnant? What makes you think he wants a child from you anyway? He did not ask you to get pregnant. He was just having fun. You were a distraction. Think you are any more than that is silly. Need to realize when you commit fornication, you should anticipate murder. Women need to realize when you commit adultery, you need to anticipate murder. All the men in the world, why are you trying to take someone else's husband? Think about it. You need to see a psychiatrist. Of all the men in the world, you're concentrated on a married man. Doesn't occur to you that if he cheats on his wife, he'll cheat on you if he leaves her for you? There's something wrong with your thinking. Seriously, there is something wrong with your thinking. Now, one of these women did not know that the man that she was dating was married, but when she found out, she attempted to leave him. That's why he killed her. But these other women, knowingly, they knew they were dating a married man. From these cases, we also learn that once the woman becomes pregnant, she becomes the ex-mistress. We also learn that for a married man, the situation of a woman presenting herself pregnant to his wife is considered grotesque. And men react violently to these situations. For any woman, adultery and fornication are not acceptable pastimes. Women need to realize the extracurricular activity is considered a means of fighting boredom for the man. There are many risks to adultery and fornications. One risk is the risk of your death. What do you expect when you threaten a man? It is silly to think once you become pregnant, you will make a man leave his wife. You cannot make anyone do anything that they truly do not want to do just because you demand it. Pregnancy and adultery do not mix. A man who says he's dissatisfied has not left his wife before he met you. Why should he leave his wife after meeting you? And getting pregnant is clearly the woman's option. Pregnancy does not force marriage. Use your brain and change your life. Please change the way that you're thinking. One change is to start dating single men. Stop looking into someone else's garden and stop walking around with blinders on. Wake up. Adultery and fornication were not caused, God didn't cause them sins for nothing. Regardless of how innocent you think you are, envy, jealousy, and revenge can lead to your death. Now, here's a sideline. I leave it for you to tell me how many of these men were black. Don't be fooled by the last name. When a person attends a university, going to school year after year after year to receive one of the highest degrees given by any university, that person is saying he or she is dedicated to the profession to which they have been trained. Then, when that person turns around and dedicates their entire life to public service, this truly means this person cares about their fellow man. It takes time to educate oneself. Oftentimes, when a person pursues a higher degree, they lose contact with their family and friends. They do not attend football games, go out to the bar, or go out on dates. Their profession is all consuming. It also takes a great deal of money for a person to receive a doctorate degree in any field. This person has to invest 6 to 8 or 10 years of one's life just to bring as much knowledge as they can to their job. We all know public service does not pay as much money as private work. Therefore, any person who receives a doctorate degree and goes into public service truly services their community. This is what Dr. Latina Denson has done. Dr. Latina Denson spent hours of her life educating herself. Then she turned around and began years of public service. Now she wants to serve her community as a member of the Southfield City Council. Will you help her achieve this goal by voting for her on Tuesday, November the 5th? 2019. Your vote for Dr. Denson will help bring a knowledgeable and trained person to the Southfield City Council. Yes, and do not forget, please go to the website touchedbythelight.us and purchase a book. Those proceeds will help her campaign. Thank you. I know I have spoken harshly during this show. I knowingly use the word stupid over and over again to get your attention. No one likes the word stupid. I acknowledge my harshness, but I will not apologize for it. Hurting your feelings was not my purpose. My purpose is to tell you danger awaits you at every turn when you do not consider your decisions that you are making when you bring an unrelated male into your home or you let a male babysit your children. There was a woman who met a man at a bar. She was sitting there talking to people about her children. Finally, they struck up a conversation. She took him home, had sex with him. The next morning, her child was missing. They found her child in a canal, raped and murdered. I have lots more to say, and I guarantee you the knowledge I give you is for your betterment and survival because I know you are not aware of all the black women and black children being killed by black men in this country. Every year there are families sitting in courtrooms, wringing their hands and holding back tears as they listen to the trials of men who murdered their loved ones. Their pain is eternal. So will your pain be if you do not reconsider your lifestyle. Dr. Latina Denson is running for the Southfield City Council and she needs your help. Dr. Latina Denson has dedicated her life to public service. She works as the commissioner on senior adults in Southfield. She volunteers at numerous agencies such as World Medical Relief, Stroke of Knowledge, and she is currently the president of Strategic Development Solutions. Show your appreciation by voting for Dr. Latina Denson for City Council of Southfield, Michigan. You can support the election of Dr. Latina Denson by going to the website touchedbythelight.us and purchasing a book. Proceeds from your purchase will help her campaign. Thank you. Be certain that you attend the Women of Courage workshops September the 14th and October the 5th in Southfield at the Southfield Pavilion. Both dates are a Saturday. Dr. Latina Denson will be our guest speaker. Seating is limited. Regular tickets are $20. For ticket and vendor information, please contact Renee from WHPR. Her phone number is 707-881-7363. Again, 707-881-7363. The Women of Courage Show broadcast on WHPR 88.1 FM every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. Please remember, if you are not in your car or near radio during our broadcast, we can be seen and heard on your computer if you go to TV33WHPR.com. Again, TV33WHPR.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the page and click on the link WHPR 88.1 FM. We can also be heard on your phone if you download the free app WHPR TV Detroit Live or listen to us on Roku at WHPR TV Detroit Live 88.1 FM. If you missed one of our broadcasts, you can view our archive on YouTube at the Touched by the Light Publishing channel. Twice a month on Saturday, I meet with my listeners for a discussion about issues affecting women. Please join us. For dates, times, and directions, you can reach us at murderedvoices at gmail.com. Do not forget the dates September 14th and October 5th. Both of these dates are a Saturday. Rather than conduct our regular Saturday meetings, the Women of Courage Show is holding two workshops at the Southfield Pavilion in the multi-purpose room. The regular tickets for these events are $20. You can contact Renee of WHPR at 707-881-7363 for tickets and more information about the event and the vendor opportunities. This is going to be a spectacular event. You will not forget this experience. There is only one person in this state that can give a workshop like this. The last time she gave a workshop, it was for the Association of Black Social Workers at the Center on Woodward. During the workshop, not one word was spoken by anyone except by the narrator. And when the social workers left the workshop, there was not one handout left on the table. You will want to share this event with your friends and family. Bring your business cards to share. The Women of Courage Show encourages women to respect other women and to support women in business. It is only when we work together that we win. Because of the city fire codes, these are limited capacity workshops. Please purchase your tickets early so you will not miss out on hearing from one of the world's most prolific writers. Our speaker is the only person in America who has researched the murders of more than 20,000 women. She was in college when Masters and Johnson published their 1957 to 1994 work on human sexuality. She vowed then that she would complete an equally important work. She accomplished this task between the ages of 57 and 69. Her research is entitled Do This in Remembrance of Me. You will want to hear what this woman has to say. Remember, Renee of WHPR TV 33 can help you with tickets. God bless and keep believing. The best revenge against your enemy is for you to succeed. Thank you for listening to Women of Courage and have a great day.